Hello and welcome on into another episode of the Renegades Sports Podcast. I'm Jake Gable, joined by just Jacob Smedley today, but don't worry, it's the Jake Show.
It's
today.
the Jake Show,
and we're gonna bring enough energy with just the two of us.
Oh yeah, love the Jake Show, my favorite show.
Yeah, so we'll be talking a little bit of baseball later on, but right now it's college football season.
So excited.
Yeah,
excited.
It already got underway. Georgia Tech upset of Florida State.
In Dublin,
Ireland. Yeah. I don't know if you saw any of the Pat McAfee.
Oh, yes, I did see that. Yeah.
Pretty wild. But
with Seamus, too.
Yeah, with Seamus. They were having a grand old time in Ireland. College football looks a little different this year. I mean, not only with the playoff, but there's some big names missing. And I'm not even talking about the players here. Coaches. One of the guys that Pat McAfee does College Game Day with, Nick Saban, is no longer coaching. I mean, he's been the GOAT forever, it seems like, at Alabama. And then also, the guy that just won the national championship with Michigan, Harabaugh, is gone as well. He's with the Chargers. So you look at those two guys gone, I feel like they were like the top names in coaching. The question becomes, who's the top coach in college football anymore? Because I don't think there's an obvious answer.
Yeah, there's not an obvious answer. There's some, you look at some guys that have some track record. Not all the jobs are vacant. There are a lot of guys that have still maintained their programs for 5+ years. But yeah, you mentioned, Jake, a lot of moving parts. Of course, the Bama job, there was all the publicity, who was going to replace Saban. And then Harabaugh as well, amidst that kind of like scandal that's still going on there, finding a replacement there. So, and still, over the past few years, a lot of guys just changing jobs and moving across the country. So, yeah, I think you're right. Not everyone has their own opinion. I have a thought, though, and I want to hear your thought on this. The next guy I think to kind of take that throne, and I think he's already started to do that, is Kirby Smart at Georgia. And just kind of going through his resume, he's a 3-time SEC Coach of the Year over the past, really, 6 years. The only times he didn't win it were when Saban won it. Last year for Missouri, their incredible 11-2 season. And a 2-time national championship winner. He also dethroned Saban's #1 5-star, top recruiting class ranking in 2018. So I think it's his time. They're ranked #1 heading into this season for another consecutive year to start the year. I think Kirby Smart has kind of emerged out of this kind of pack, as you said, of unknowns as that #1 guy.
I agree with you, but I know it's unanimous, but we're two people. I don't think it's unanimous to everyone, though, because I will say he has the 2 back-to-back national titles, so that puts him at, and they're recent.
Yeah.
So just take away Michigan. It was the 2 years prior.
Yeah.
But you could say the same thing back when Dabo Swinney did that with Clemson, and he's still with Clemson. So I think Kirby needs to continue the success because Clemson's kind of fallen down. Because if you're not talking about recency, Dabo is kind of equal, if not better, than Kirby Smart. But Kirby's obviously a lot more recent.
Yeah.
But there's other guys that haven't won national titles that deserve to be in this ranking, and certainly guys that are trying to fight for it. Look at Oregon, Danny Lanning.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy that's consistently had Oregon at the top. You have Alabama's new head coach coming from Washington. I mean, there's some guys that definitely deserve their names in the coaching ring with this new title.
Yeah, I think interesting you brought up Dabo Swinney because that's who I was thinking of too. And I wonder, because I think another question too, with all the power conference realignment that's going on with the SEC, ACC, Big Ten, are we valuing these coaches based on conference? How does that factor into the resume with Do you think that the SEC is like the best or better than the ACC? Because I think that's in conversation when you're talking about these guys and their resume and what they've put together. I mean, Clemson, you mentioned the way that they've gone over the past few years. In ACC, which a lot of people question the other teams. Of course, you had North Carolina with their run. Florida State has reemerged in that conference. But, I mean, you look at the SEC, it's Bama, it's Georgia. You got Ole Miss in there. You got some other Tennessee, some other really good teams. And I don't know if you stack the success of one of the other, especially now with the Pac-12 out, the Big Ten has kind of emerged with new teams. Do you factor that in as well, Jake?
I mean, I think it's definitely a factor, but also, I mean, with the Pac-12 just wiped out, it's kind of, I need a season to reevaluate who's at the top. I think SEC is always going to be considered that top dog.
Yeah.
But that could change this year. I mean, you have like so many schools from the Pac-12 joint, like Oregon's out of there, USC's gone. I mean, they're in the SEC now, but no, they're in the Big 12.
Yes, the Big 12, yeah.
I can't even keep them together because it's just like I always just pictured West Coast Pac-12. There's like cows in the ACC, the Atlantic Coastal Conference.
Yeah. They're gonna have to make new names.
Yeah, but I just think that it does count, but it's harder to grade that now, and I think we need to give one season before we can give those grades, because who knows, maybe Big 12, Big 10 becomes the top dog now with this realignment.
Yeah. Did you have a pick though? I know you mentioned some names. Is Dabo your pick to be the next like Saban? I know I'm going with Smart. Who are you going?
I agree. I am going with Kirby Smart. If Dabo can reemerge, though, if he somehow can get Clemson back on top and Georgia falls off a little bit, I think he's certainly right neck and neck. But I think, this is a what have you done for me lately type of league.
Yeah.
And I know he didn't win it last year, but he's as close as it gets with Kirby Smart.
Yeah, and managing the new NIL sphere, too. I know Kirby Smart has done a great job with the money that they've brought in. Another name I just thought of is Jimbo Fisher, too. Another one that kind of has the longevity, but, again, hasn't had the same success that he did years ago. So, lot of names to keep track of this college football season. It may be a few years before anyone touches that Nick Saban or Jim Harbaugh conversation, but we're going to move on to some Major League Baseball. We talked about the new rules that could be coming to starting pitchers. Now, season is coming to a close. September is upon us. We're going to give our award predictions. Of course, the playoff race, there's a lot of stuff going on. We won't touch that right now, but we're going to give our Cy Young, MVP, and Rookie of the Year predictions in the American and National League. Jake, where do you want to go first? You want to go MVP?
Yeah, let's go MVP and go NLAL and then work our way down that way.
Okay.
I can start off.
All right.
I think MVP is going to be the most unanimous that we get here. AL, I'm going with Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
I mean, he speaks for himself. He's already above 50 home runs. He's nearing a Triple Crown threat. I do want to shout out Juan Soto and Bobby Witt Jr., especially Witt, because I think so many years that they could be the MVP, but Judge is just putting up historic numbers.
He's got to break his own home run record.
I know, which is insane.
Yeah.
So I think it has to be Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to add, I guess, another caveat to this that I think's been impressive for me, because I think another conversation, not only to the home runs, the RBIs, the on-base percentage, has an OPS close to 1.2, which is he's getting on nearly every plate appearance, but his defense in center field, they get Juan Soto. Hey, Aaron, you're going to have to move from right field to center field, a position you haven't played in the big leagues yet, but his athleticism, his size, he just had a home run robbery referee the other night, and it was like his WAR, that wins above replacement that's used so much, is not just, of course, the astronomical offensive numbers, but the defense that he's putting up in center field for that Yankees squad is great. In agreement with that MVP, Jake. I like it.
All right, so NL now. I mean,
there could be some debate here. I think there's a handful of names in there. I'm thinking it. I was looking at some.
I'm going with the obvious answer of Shohei.
Okay.
Because he's another guy that does it all. 40-40 in home runs, stolen bases. I mean, that's also what kind of puts it away. Marcell Ozuna is close, and then you just see that like Ohtani's like basically like neck or neck or slightly better than him in a lot of statistics, and then you just see stolen bases, and you're just like, this is ridiculous.
So that's your differentiator.
I mean, I think you could take away the stolen bases, and Ohtani is still better. But like that one's like a legit debate. But 40, that's not a small feat we're talking about.
40-40, Jake. I'm hearing you. I know what you're saying, but I'm on the other side of the fence on this one. I'm going to go with Marcell Ozuna. Don't get me wrong, Shohei Ohtani is a top 2 player in baseball right now with Judge. He's right there. But I am
top 2.
Yes, but he's not going to win MVP. He is not going to win MVP.
So a guy below him is going to win.
Yes, because he has had a career year, and he is putting a team that wouldn't be in the position that they are in on his back. The injuries that the Braves have had, Jake, and Marcell Ozuna, like you mentioned, is right there with Ohtani in RBIs, in OPS, in home runs, in games played. He is an everyday staple in that lineup, and I don't think the Braves have over 70 wins or even over 60 wins if he is healthy and producing the way that he is. I know the off-the-field stuff is there with him, but this year I'm looking at the value to the team, and that's why I'm going with Marcell Ozuna as my pick.
I mean, the value is certainly an interesting debate there.
Matt Olson a down year. Acuna's been out.
A lot of injuries and stuff going on with the Braves, but you know, Mookie Betts has been out a little bit. I mean, Dodgers haven't exactly been tip top. I know they're the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's harder with baseball too. Team success and because they both have success, and Dodgers have a little bit more success, but they have a better team.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
All right.
Agree to disagree. All right, we're moving on to Cy Young in both the American League and the National League. Start with the American League again, Jake. Is this unanimous? What do you? I'll give mine. Tarek Skubal of the Detroit Tigers. All right, on the same page.
Unanimous.
Yeah, they're a 500 team. Going back to Ozuna, the importance of him, they're 18-8 when he starts. They are a below 500. They are shooting for next year without him, and right now they still have a chance at a wild card because of the way he's performing. Been phenomenal this year. 4+ pitches. I mean, the jump from year 2 to year 3 has career numbers across the board. He's my pick.
Yeah, I mean, he's at the top of ERA. He's got the most wins, which I know isn't exactly a pitcher stat anymore, but when you're a 500 team, that matters a lot more than when you're pitching for, like, the Yankees or the Dodgers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and his strikeout numbers are there, too. It's just everything you could ask out of him, he's giving, and I think he's just put himself in a tier of his own.
Mm-hmm. Okay. NL.
NL.
There's some options.
It's tougher.
There's some options.
It's tough, man. I'm between 2 names.
Do you want me to give my name? Is this one of your 2 names? Because as much as I hate it, we have the Phillies stuff behind us, but I am doing a sacrilegious here, picking Braves for 2 awards because I'm going to give it to Chris Sale of the Atlanta Braves. I think he's been consistent all year. He only has 1 start where he's given up more than 4 earned runs. He's stayed healthy. He's started enough games. He's been an an anchor for that rotation that not only the offense, Spencer Strider, who was another Cy Young favorite, done for the year. Sale has picked up from that production and is leading that staff. It was between him, Wheeler for me was in there. I know
Wheeler was
Schemes,
the other one for
called
me.
up late into that conversation, but I'm going to give it to Sale.
Wheeler, like, we talked about how the AL, it's not a debate. There's a debate here.
Mm-hmm.
I do think today I'd have to give it to Chris Sale.
Mm-hmm.
But it wouldn't surprise me if Wheeler finishes stronger.
Yeah.
I'm not predicting it. Oh,
Graphic
graphic says Chris Sale.
Yes.
But I think that Wheeler has a legit shot. It's not a done deal like some of these other awards we've talked about.
Yeah, I think very good debate. That could happen. It could come down to that final week of the season. Rookie of the Year. This is a tough one. There were some names that have really, I think, stood out in both leagues this year. Start American League first again. Jake, do you have someone in mind already?
Yeah, I don't think that this is a popular pick, but I'm going with Wilyer Abreu from the Red Sox.
Okay, all right.
Just looking at, he's at the top of qualified rookies in OPS,
Okay.
and he's got, I'm looking at like Colton Cowser as, he's the favorite, betting odds favorite right now,
Mhm.
but he's got a better average. Abreu's played in a couple less games, but he's right behind him in home runs, and the games department is like on pace. They're doing the same. I kind of like Abreu's production more as a rookie, and I think his stats are more eye-friendly, and I think that he's won this so far, but I think I'm in the minority here.
Yeah, Jake, once again, we're on the two different sides of the aisle. I'm going to go with Colton Cowser. And I'm going to say this, I like all of how he leads. Abreu is really a staple on this Red Sox team. And also his versatility, too, playing multiple different positions for them. I'm going to Cowser because I think they're going to lean with the winning team, the team that has the better record, and his
but this
production.
Is Rookie of the Year.
I
It shouldn't matter in this race.
It shouldn't matter, Jake, but it does, and that I think factors, and that might be why my picks for MVP and Cy Young could be wrong with the Braves because of the Dodgers and the Phillies having a better record, just with that bias aside. But I'm going with that here with Cowser. He might not have the same numbers, but he is playing a consistent left field for them. He's batting fifth, sixth in the lineup behind Rutschman, behind Henderson there. I think he's having a good year, and they might just sway to break that tie, even if the stats might be better in that regard.
Right. But there's a lot more debate. I'm glad that we're not agreeing on them.
Yeah.
All right.
And now to wrap it up, I'll go. We did it. Check out Jake Short coming out soon. Little teaser.
Thank you. It
Yeah,
might even be
of
posted
course.
by.
Yeah. Check it out. Jackson Merrill of the San Diego Padres. I'm going with another favorite. I'm going chalk on both the Rookie of the Years here. But I'm going Jackson Merrill on this Padres team. The versatility. He can play short. He can play center field. He's given clutch home runs against the Mets in late innings. He's making great defensive plays. He's been a great addition to this Padres team that needed that youth jolt to get them back to a winning ways that they really haven't had the same since 2 years ago.
We disagree again, Jacob. Paul Skeens, man.
Okay, all right.
I mean, there's definitely a debate. I think the loser of this race, if they were in the AL, would have won by a landslide.
Yes, yeah.
But Paul Skeens, if he was called up earlier and had the same innings, and I know that's saying if he had the same innings and the same production,
Yeah.
but at the pace he was going at, like, if you take away the amount of innings he's had and he hasn't qualified for ERA title, he'd be winning in the NL. He has been so lights out, and his strikeout numbers are ridiculous.
Yeah.
He is getting so many strikeouts for comparatively for innings, like Chris Sale versus him. He's like 60 behind, but he's like more than 60 innings behind him pitched.
Yeah.
He gives, high heat. And I know the debate of everyday player versus pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's like a deciding factor for someone, that's fair because it is close. But I just think that every time Skeens is on the mound, the Pirates are favored. And when's the last...
watch TV.
Yeah, when's the last time you've been able to say that? And it's not just like must watch just because he's an entertaining player.
Mm-hmm.
He's must watch because he's so dominant too.
Yeah. Great debate on a lot of these picks. We'll see which one of us got the correct answer. Some agree, but mostly playing on different sides here, Jake. We'll have to see who wins these awards at the end of the season.
Yeah, that does it for today. I mean, we talked about the MLB awards a lot more than I thought we would, but we disagreed on a lot more than I thought we would too. There's a lot of debate there, but that does it for this episode. Make sure to subscribe and like the video on YouTube and leave a comment below. Who are your picks? Not only for our MLB awards, but also who do you think the best coach in college football is? And were there any names that we missed, or, do you agree with us? Because, sometimes I like to hear that I'm saying the right things.
Yeah, exactly. And check out the shorts, too. A little sneak peek of one that you might see already up there on the channels, but on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We have daily shorts coming out for you. Trivia, games, sports games as well. Check them out there as well.
All right. For Jacob Smedley, I'm Jake Gable, and this has been the Renegades Sports Podcast. Thanks for watching and listening.